Abraham Lincoln did not defeat his enemies with brilliant speeches. He defeated them with the weight of his own darkness. Listen closely. While the entire world tells you that depression is a weakness you must cure, Lincoln discovered that melancholy is a fuel. He was not looking for happiness. He was looking for the utility of pain. Right now, as you look at these golden cracks on his face, you are about to learn the exact protocol used by the 16th president to transform a mind on the verge of suicide into the most powerful political weapon in the United States. Forget about peace of mind. Forget about empty advice. Today, you are going to learn the how. How to forge will when you have no desire to get up. How to use your sadness as a radar to detect the truth. How to, literally, turn your depression into absolute power. Welcome to the mind of a Titan. This is Defying Destiny.
It is 1862. Outside the windows of the White House, a storm is raging. But the storm inside the office is far worse. The man sitting in the chair has not slept in 30 hours. His son, Willie, is dead. The Civil War is tearing the country apart. Thousands of young men are dying in the mud every single day. Most leaders would collapse under this weight. Most men would seek an escape, alcohol, sleep, or denial. But Abraham Lincoln does not escape. Look at him. He sits in the darkness, staring at the candle flame. He is doing something that 99% of people fail to do. He is not fighting the pain, he is sitting with it. He called it the hypochondria, melancholy. Historians will tell you facts, they will tell you dates, but they will not tell you the secret mechanics of his mind. You see, Lincoln understood that suffering is only destructive when you try to ignore it. When you accept it, when you look it in the eye, it transforms into information. Before we descend deeper into his private journals, and before I reveal the first protocol he used to master his mind, I need you to make a choice. If you want to master your own darkness, if you want to belong to the few who defy their destiny, then prove it. Click the subscribe button. Turn on the notifications. Do not just watch the history. Become part of the legacy. Join us. Now, pay attention, because this is where the novel becomes a manual for your life. The first thing Lincoln did was to separate his identity from his emotion. He did not say, "I am depressed." He said, "The hypo is visiting me." Do you see the difference? When you say, "I am sad," you become the sadness. It consumes you. But when you treat the emotion as a separate entity, as a dark visitor sitting in the corner of the room, you gain control. You can observe it. You can analyze it. Lincoln wrote thousands of notes on small scraps of paper. He externalized the chaos. He took the screaming voices in his head and trapped them in ink. This is the first lesson of the Titan. You cannot fight a ghost that lives inside your skull. You must force it out. You must give it a name, a shape, and a limit. Imagine him that night, the fate of the Union on his shoulders, the grief for his dead son in his heart. He takes the quill, he dips it in the ink, and he writes. He does not write to complain, he writes to clarify. He turns the abstract terror into concrete words. This is not magic, this is tactical psychology. By defining the darkness, he stopped being its victim and became its master. But this was only the first step, because once he trapped the beast, he had to learn how to ride it, and that is where the real power begins. Let us move forward in time. It is now July 1863. The Battle of Gettysburg has just ended. The fields are covered with bodies. The smell of gunpowder and rotting flesh hangs over the entire state of Pennsylvania.
Abraham Lincoln is pacing the floor of the telegraph office. He is waiting for one specific message. He is waiting for General George Meade to tell him that he has destroyed the retreating Confederate army. Robert E. Lee, the enemy commander, was trapped against the Potomac River. The river was swollen with rain. Lee could not cross. He was a sitting duck. All General Meade had to do was attack. Just one attack, and the war would be over. The killing would stop. The nation would be saved. Lincoln waits. He reads the telegrams with trembling hands. And then the truth arrives. Meade did not attack. He hesitated. He held a council of war. He wasted time. And while he hesitated, the river waters went down, and Robert E. Lee escaped. The war will not end. It will go on for 2 more years. Thousands more will die. Imagine the rage exploding inside Lincoln's chest. This is not just annoyance. This is a fury so black and so hot it could burn down the White House. He feels betrayed. He feels that his general is incompetent. He feels the weight of all the future dead soldiers on his conscience. In this moment, Lincoln wants to scream. He wants to fire General Meade immediately. He wants to humiliate him publicly. So what does the Stoic president do? Does he send a telegram full of insults? Does he order an execution? No. He sits down at his desk. He lights a fresh candle. He grabs a piece of stiff paper, and he applies the second protocol of power. He writes a letter. Listen to the words he wrote. This is historically accurate. He wrote, "My dear General, I do not believe you appreciate the magnitude of the misfortune involved in Lee's escape. He was within your easy grasp, and to have closed upon him would have ended the war. As it is, the war will be prolonged indefinitely. Your golden opportunity is gone, and I am distressed immeasurably because of it." Cruel words, honest words, words that would have destroyed General Meade's confidence forever. Lincoln finished the letter. He folded it. He placed it in an envelope, and on the envelope he wrote, "To General Meade, never sent, never signed." And he locked it in his drawer. Why? Why write a letter and never send it? Here is the how for you. Here is the psychological mechanic you must learn today. Lincoln knew that anger is a valid emotion, but a terrible strategist. If he had sent that letter, Meade would have resigned or fought back, and the army would have lost its commander in the middle of a war. Lincoln needed Meade to fight. So Lincoln separated the ventilation from the communication. This is the hot letter technique. When you are consumed by rage, when your boss humiliates you, when your partner betrays you, when the world is unfair, do not suppress the anger. Suppression leads to depression. Instead, write. Write the most vicious, cruel, and honest letter you can imagine. Pour all your poison onto the paper. Curse them. Scream at them in ink. Do not hold back. Let the monster out of the cage, but keep the monster on the page. Then, look at the letter, read it, and put it in a drawer for 24 hours. Lincoln knew that after the ink dries, the emotion cools down. The logic returns. By the next morning, the poison is out of your system, but you have not poisoned your reality. You have saved your reputation. You have saved your relationship. You have defied the destiny of an angry fool. Think about your own life right now. How many bridges have you burned because you spoke too fast? How many opportunities did you kill because you let your temporary emotion become a permanent disaster? Lincoln died with that letter still in his drawer. Meade never read it, but Meade went on to continue fighting for the Union. Lincoln won the war because he defeated his own tongue first. But anger was not the only demon Lincoln faced. There was something colder, something slower, a paralyzing doubt that whispered to him that he was not worthy, that he was an imposter. And to defeat that, He had to invent a completely different tool, a tool that involves the geometry of the mind. Let us go to 1864 to see how a broken man builds unshakable confidence.
Now, let us travel to the summer of 1864. The war has dragged on for 3 bloody years. The public hates the war. The newspapers call Lincoln a tyrant, a butcher, and an idiot. The heat in Washington City is unbearable. The air is thick with humidity and the smell of horses. Lincoln is thin. He looks like a skeleton wrapped in a black suit. And inside his mind, the depression is whispering a new lie. It is not screaming in rage like before. Now it is whispering doubts. You are not capable. You are going to lose the re-election. You are a fraud from the backwoods of Kentucky. This is the imposter syndrome that we all know, that sinking feeling that you do not belong in the room, that everyone else is smarter than you. Most people try to fight this doubt with positive affirmations. They look in the mirror and say, "I am great, I am smart." Lincoln did not do that. He knew that when your brain is chemically depressed, positive thinking feels like a lie. So he did not look for positivity, he looked for proof. He turned to a book written 2,000 years ago, The Elements by Euclid, a book of geometry. Imagine this image: the President of the United States, unable to sleep at 2 in the morning, lying on a couch, reading about triangles, angles, and axioms. Why? Because Lincoln was obsessed with one word: demonstrate. He said to himself, "I can argue, but I cannot demonstrate." He realized that his depression was lying to him because it was based on feelings, not facts. In geometry, you cannot just feel that a line is straight, you must prove it. You must demonstrate it beyond all doubt. So, here is the protocol he developed, the Euclid method. When the dark voice in his head said, "You are failing," Lincoln would stop. He would treat that thought like a geometry problem. He would ask, what is the axiom? What is the undeniable truth here? He stripped away the fear. He stripped away the opinions of the newspapers. He looked for the hard data. Fact 1, the army is advancing. Fact 2, the South is running out of food. Fact 3, the Union is still standing. Conclusion, we are not failing, we are grinding. This is how depression becomes power. Pay close attention to this. An optimistic man might have been overconfident. He might have ignored the risks. But because Lincoln was naturally depressive, he checked every detail. He doubted everything, so he prepared for everything. His darkness made him meticulous. His lack of ego made him open to logic. He memorized the 6 books of Euclid to train his brain to reject emotional noise. He built a mental fortress made of logic where the depression could not enter without a pass. So, the next time you feel like a fraud, stop trying to pump yourself up with fake motivation. Do what Lincoln did. Open the books of logic. Look at the data of your life. Have you survived 100% of your bad days? Yes, that is a fact. Have you solved problems before? Yes, that is a fact. Demonstrate your value to yourself. Do not feel it, prove it. By the end of 1864, Lincoln had anchored his sanity to these hard truths. But the final test was coming. The war was ending, and he had to face something even harder than war. He had to face mercy. And to do that, he would need to defy the oldest instinct of human nature, revenge.
Let us go deeper into the darkness. It is late 1864. Abraham Lincoln is physically dying. If you look at photos of him from 1860, when he was first elected, and compare them to 1864, you will see 2 different men. The war has eaten his face. He has lost 30 pounds. His eyes are sunken into black holes. Every day he has to sign death warrants. Every day the pressure is crushing. His biological code is screaming at him. His brain is begging him to quit, to find safety, to run away from the pain. This is the natural instinct of every human being. We are programmed to seek safety. But Lincoln, the man who defied his destiny, hacked this biological code. How? He used a mental framework called the doctrine of necessity. Lincoln believed that when the burden is too heavy for the ego, you must surrender the outcome to something bigger. He famously said, "I claim not to have controlled events, but confess plainly that events have controlled me." Now, do not misunderstand this. This is not passivity. This is the ultimate aggressive strategy against fear. Lincoln realized that his anxiety came from his human desire to control everything. So, to defeat the paralyzing fear, he told himself, "I am not the pilot, I am the instrument. My biological brain wants to flee, but history demands that I stay." He stopped trying to be God. He accepted his role as a tool. This silenced the noise in his head. It allowed him to override his survival instinct and do the hard work. This is the protocol of the instrument. When you are overwhelmed, when your brain shouts at you to give up, stop saying, "I must fix everything." Start saying, "I am just the mechanic. I will turn this one screw. Then I will turn the next one." To maintain this perspective, Lincoln used another tool to crush his ego, a poem. He carried a poem called Mortality in his pocket. He memorized it. He recited it constantly. It starts with the line, "Oh, why should the spirit of mortal be proud?" It is a poem about how kings, warriors, and peasants all end up in the same ground. Imagine the president reciting a poem about death. Why? He was hacking his own brain. When the pressure felt like it would kill him, he recited the poem to remind himself that he was small, that his pain was temporary. By looking at the ultimate darkness, death, Lincoln found the energy to keep living. He used the concept of death to neutralize the fear of life. So, here is your instruction. Find a text that reminds you of how small you are. Embrace it, because when you realize you are small, the weight on your shoulders becomes small too. Lincoln is now moving toward the end. He has mastered his rage. He has defeated his biological code. He has mastered his anxiety through radical acceptance. But the final boss is approaching: victory. Most people are destroyed by failure, but Lincoln knew that many men are destroyed by success. When the South surrenders, Lincoln will have to make the hardest decision of his life, and the choice he makes will cost him everything. We are now in March 1865. The end is visible. The Confederate armies are collapsing. The Union is going to win. This is the most dangerous moment for any leader. Why? Because when human beings win, the biological brain releases dopamine and testosterone. The winner wants to humiliate the loser. The winner wants revenge. The people of the North were screaming for blood. They wanted to hang the rebel generals. They wanted to burn the South to the ground for the treason they committed. But Abraham Lincoln, the man who defied his destiny, refused to drink the poison of victory. On March 4th, 1865, he stood in the mud to give his second inaugural address. The crowd expected a speech of triumph. They expected him to say, "We crushed them." Instead, Lincoln gave a sermon. He looked at the crowd and said those immortal words, "With malice toward none, with charity for all."
think about the mental strength required to say that. After 4 years of death, after losing his own son, after being hated by half the country, he chose mercy. Why? Was he soft? No, he was a strategic genius. And this genius came from his depression. You see, pain had carved out Lincoln's ego. He knew what suffering felt like. So when he looked at the Southern soldiers, he did not see monsters. He saw suffering human beings. He saw mirrors of his own pain. His depression gave him the superpower of empathy. He applied the protocol of total destruction, but not the way you think. He famously said, "Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends?" This is the how for you today. When you win an argument, when you get the promotion over your rival, when you finally prove someone wrong, your biology will scream at you to spike the ball, to rub it in their face. Do not do it. That is the weak man's reaction. The Stoic reaction is to extend a hand, to offer dignity to the person you defeated. Look at what Lincoln did on April 4th, 1865. Richmond, the capital of the Confederacy, had fallen. The city was burning. Lincoln decided to walk into the enemy city, not with an army of tanks, but with a few sailors. He walked through the smoke-filled streets. The liberated slaves saw him. They fell to their knees. They tried to kiss his boots. They treated him like a messiah. A narcissist would have loved this. A narcissist would have soaked up the worship. But Lincoln, the man who knew he was just an instrument, looked at the kneeling men and said, "Do not kneel to me. That is not right. You must kneel to God only and thank Him for the liberty you will hereafter enjoy." He rejected the worship. He remained humble even in the greatest moment of glory in American history. This is the ultimate lesson of this chapter. Your darkness, your struggles have a purpose. They are there to burn away your arrogance. If Lincoln had been a happy, arrogant man, he would have punished the South, and the war would have continued as a guerrilla conflict for 50 years. But because he was a broken man, he knew how to heal a broken nation. He defied the destiny of the tyrant. Now, the war is over. Lee has surrendered. The Union is saved. Lincoln is the most loved man in the North. He can finally rest. He can finally sleep. But history and fate have one last card to play. On April 14th, 1865, Lincoln decides to go to the theater. He wants to laugh. He deserves to laugh. He does not know that a man named John Wilkes Booth is waiting for him in the shadows, and he does not know that his death will be the final and greatest act of power.
It is Good Friday, April 14th, 1865. The air in Washington is filled with joy. The war is over. The Union is saved. Abraham Lincoln sits in the presidential box at Ford's Theater. He is holding the hand of his wife, Mary. He is smiling. For the first time in 4 years, the lines of torture on his face are relaxing. He leans over to Mary and whispers about their future. He wants to visit Europe. He wants to visit Jerusalem. He is making plans for life. But behind him, the door opens silently. John Wilkes Booth, a famous actor, a narcissist obsessed with fame, enters the box. He holds a small Derringer pistol. 1 shot, 1 second. The sound cracks through the theater like thunder. Lincoln does not scream. He simply slumps forward. The man who carried the weight of the world falls into the silence. They carry him across the street to a small house, the Peterson house. They lay him diagonally on a bed because he is too tall to fit. And here begins the final lesson of the Titan.
Lincoln lies in a coma for 9 hours. His breathing is heavy. The doctors are helpless. Outside, the rain begins to fall again, mixing with the tears of a nation in shock. But look closely at his face in these final hours. Historians reported a strange phenomenon. As his life faded away, the hypo, the depression, the anxiety vanished from his features. His face became incredibly peaceful. Why? Because he had finished the work. Lincoln lived with a constant obsession with death. His depression told him every day, "You are going to die soon." Most people try to ignore this voice. They distract themselves with entertainment, with alcohol, with trivialities. They live as if they have unlimited time. Lincoln did the opposite. He used his depression as a clock. He heard the ticking sound of death in his ear every morning, and that ticking sound did not paralyze him. It pushed him. He applied the ancient Stoic protocol, memento mori, remember you must die. Because he knew his time was short, he did not waste energy on petty arguments. He did not waste time on hesitation. He worked with a demonic urgency to save the Union because he felt the shadow standing behind him. If Lincoln had been a happy man who thought he would live to be 80, he might have delayed the Emancipation Proclamation. He might have waited for a better time, and the war might have been lost. His darkness saved the world because it forced him to act now. This is the how for you. This is the tool you must take from his deathbed. Ask yourself, if you knew with 100% certainty that the assassin is waiting for you in the shadows right now, what would you stop doing? Would you still care about that criticism on social media? Would you still be afraid to launch your project? Would you still hold that grudge against your brother? No, you would focus only on what matters. The death of Abraham Lincoln teaches us that tragedy strikes when we least expect it, when we are happiest, when we think we have won. Therefore, you cannot wait for someday. You cannot wait until you feel better. You must use your pain, your depression, and your fear to fuel your work today. At 7:22 a.m. on April 15th, Abraham Lincoln stopped breathing. Edwin Stanton, his Secretary of War, looked at the body and said the famous words, "Now he belongs to the ages." Lincoln was dead, but the Lincoln method was just being born. We have explored his life. We have seen the darkness, but now we must do something that history books rarely do. We must summarize the system. In the next chapter, I'm going to give you the condensed code of the Titan, a step-by-step summary of the psychological tools we have discovered so you can install them in your own brain. We are not done yet. We're just getting to the integration.
Before we summarize the Titan's code, we must open one final door, a door that historians often keep closed. We have seen how Lincoln handled the Civil War. We have seen how he handled death. But many of you are not fighting a civil war. You are fighting a war inside your own home. You are dealing with toxic people, with a partner who does not understand you, with family members who drain your energy. Abraham Lincoln faced this too, and his battleground was his marriage. His wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, was a woman of immense instability. Today, psychologists would likely diagnose her with bipolar disorder or severe narcissism. She was known to throw hot coffee into Lincoln's face. She chased him with a butcher knife. She humiliated him in front of his generals, screaming at him for flirting with other women, which he never did. Imagine the pressure. The man is trying to save the United States during the day and comes home to a psychological war zone at night. Most men would have broken. Most men would have divorced her or fought back, screaming and breaking plates. Lincoln did neither. He applied the protocol of the fortress. This is crucial for your relationships. Listen closely. Lincoln realized that Mary's anger was not about him. It was about her internal chaos. His depression, strangely enough, helped him here. It made him detached. It gave him a shield of numbness. When she screamed, he did not scream back. He went silent. He did not ignore her to be cruel. He went silent to protect his energy. He visualized himself as a rock in the middle of a hurricane. The hurricane screams, but the rock does not argue with the wind. He famously said, "It does her good to let off steam, and it does me no harm." Think about that level of power. It does me no harm. This is the how for you. When you are dealing with a toxic person, your biological instinct is to defend yourself. Your ego wants to prove them wrong. Your ego wants to win the argument. But you cannot win an argument with an irrational person. You can only lose your peace. So, do what Lincoln did. Build the fortress of silence. When the attack comes, do not let it enter your soul. See the words as noise. See the insults as bad weather. You do not get angry at the rain. You just put up an umbrella. Lincoln used his office as a sanctuary. He worked late not just to save the Union, but to avoid the conflict. He learned to separate his mission from his misery. If he had allowed his wife's toxicity to infect his mind, he would have lost his focus. And if he had lost his focus, the South would have won the war. He saved the country because he learned to ignore the noise in his own kitchen. So, look at your life. Who is draining you? Who is trying to pull you into their storm? Do not fight them. You have bigger wars to win. Be the rock, let them scream, and keep working on your legacy. Now that we have seen the full spectrum of his pain, from the battlefield to the bedroom, we are finally ready to extract the system. It is time to organize these lessons into a manual. Let us go to the code.
Abraham Lincoln is dead. The funeral train carried his body across America for 2 weeks. Millions of people cried in the rain. But we are not here to cry. We are here to decode. We have spent the last 30 minutes watching a man fight a war against his own mind. Now I want you to look at your own life. You do not have a civil war to fight. You do not have generals to command. But you have a war. You have anxiety. You have doubt. You have days where getting out of bed feels like lifting a mountain. So let us extract the Lincoln system. I'm going to give you the 5 specific protocols we have discovered so you can write them down and use them tomorrow morning. Protocol number 1, objectify the darkness. Stop saying, "I am depressed." Stop identifying with the pain. Do what Lincoln did. Call it the hypo, or call it the gray cloud. Give it a silly name if you have to. When you name the monster, you realize that it is not you. It is just a visitor in your house. You are the landlord. You decide the rules of the house. He might live under your roof, but he lives under your command. Protocol number 2, the hot letter. When you feel rage, do not tweet, do not shout, do not send that angry email to your boss or your partner. If you click send, you will destroy in 5 seconds a reputation that took you 5 years to build. Instead, write the venom on paper, scream in ink, then strike a match and burn the paper. Watch it turn to ash. This is not magic, it is biology. Burning the physical paper tells your brain that the emotion has been processed and the chapter is closed. You purge the poison without poisoning your life. Protocol number 3, the Euclid method. When you feel like an imposter, do not look for validation. Look for demonstration. Ignore your feelings. Look at the data. Build a mental fortress based on facts. For example, if you think you're not smart enough to handle your business problems, look at your history. Count exactly how many crises you have solved in the last 10 years. You will find that you have survived 100% of them. That is not an opinion. That is a mathematical proof that you are competent. Protocol number 4,
the instrument mindset. When the pressure is too high, kill your ego. Stop trying to control the outcome. Accept that you are just a tool in a larger machine. For example, imagine a massive economic crash destroys your industry. The ego panics and asks, "Why me?" The instrument simply asks, "What is my function now?" By accepting you are just a mechanic turning a screw, you stop worrying about the entire engine exploding. You focus on your one small task, and that focus conquers the fear. Protocol number 5, the urgency of death. Use your darkness as a clock. If you are naturally depressive, use that awareness of the end. Do not wait for the perfect moment. The assassin is always in the shadows. Think about that business you want to start, or that trip you want to take with your family. You are waiting for someday when you have more money or more time. Lincoln teaches us that someday might be intercepted by a bullet in the theater. Do not procrastinate your life. Act now. This is the code. It is not a magic pill, it is a discipline. Lincoln did not cure his depression, he managed it. He rode it like a wild horse. And this leads us to the final question, the question that usually haunts people with dark minds. Is it worth it? If life is full of suffering, if we are all going to die anyway, why struggle? Why fight so hard to save the Union? Why fight so hard to build your legacy? Lincoln had an answer for this too, and it is not what you think. It is not about happiness. It is not about money. It is about something much colder and much more beautiful. In the final chapter, we will explore the theory of meaning. We will see why a life of pain is superior to a life of comfort, and we will say our final goodbye to the man who defied destiny.
We have reached the end of the journey. We have analyzed the rage, the doubt, the anxiety, and the death. But there is one final piece of logic we must install in your mind before you leave. Throughout this documentary, you might have felt pity for Abraham Lincoln. You might have thought, "Poor man, he suffered so much." But I want you to change your perspective. Do not pity him. Let him inspire you. Why? Let us simulate the alternative. Imagine if Lincoln had taken a magic pill in 1840 that cured his depression instantly. Imagine if he had become a happy, well-adjusted man. He would have probably remained a successful lawyer in Springfield, Illinois. He would have slept 8 hours every night. He would have avoided the stress of the presidency. He would have died in a warm bed, comfortable, safe, and smiling. It would have been a good life. And today, nobody would remember his name. The slaves would have remained in chains for another 50 years. The Union would have fractured. The world would be darker. His suffering was the price of his greatness. This is the theory of meaning. Modern society tries to sell you happiness. They tell you that the goal of life is to feel good, to be comfortable, to have zero stress. That is a lie. A life without struggle is a life without meaning. A life without darkness is a life without depth. Lincoln teaches us that your depression, your hypo, is not a curse. It is a forge. It is the fire that burns away the trivial parts of your character and leaves only the steel. So, the next time you are lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, paralyzed by the weight of existence, do not pray for an easier life. Do not pray for the pain to go away. Ask yourself, what is this pain trying to build? Maybe your loneliness is building the independence you need to start your business. Maybe your anger is building the energy you need to change your career. Maybe your sadness is building the empathy you need to lead others. You are not broken. You are being built. Abraham Lincoln defied his destiny. He took a mind that wanted to die and used it to save a nation that was dying. He proved that the broken vessel can hold the most light. Now,
The choice is yours. You can go back to scrolling through social media. You can go back to seeking cheap dopamine and easy comfort. You can go back to sleep. Or you can wake up. You can take the Lincoln Code we have studied today. You can objectify your darkness. You can burn your angry letters. You can use your logic to crush your doubt. And you can treat your life with the urgency of a man who knows the clock is ticking. The storm is always going to be there. The rain against the window will never stop. But you do not have to be afraid of the storm anymore, because now you know the secret. It is you who controls the storm of your mind. If this documentary gave you a new weapon to fight your battles, then honor the exchange of value. Click the subscribe button now, not because I ask you to, but because you belong to this tribe, the tribe of the Stoics, the tribe of the Titans. Turn on the notifications. We are building the most powerful library of mental warfare on the internet, and I do not want you to miss what comes next. This is Defying Destiny. See you in the next war.